everyone, this is Alexandra from Nori, and I'm here with Sanchali from Joro, CEO and co-founder, and we have some big news. Sanchali, you want to tell them?
We're partnering for Earth Day to put a Nori project on the Joro app so anyone who's a Joro user can reverse their emissions with Nori.
Yay!
Yay!
It's a kind of a cool, fun thing to do our real first partnership with an app like Joro, because you guys are directly reaching out to individuals who are trying to be active in addressing their climate impact.
And we're super excited to be able to offer the best, most interesting, most innovative ways for people to reduce their emissions. And so that's why we're super excited to announce the partnership with Nori for Earth Day. So I started working on this because I personally was just interested in what my carbon footprint was and how I could do something about it. So I looked into a bunch of online tools and calculators, and the most annoying thing about them was that you need to enter a bunch of manual input. So with Joro, we start from an automated data feed, which is credit card data. So users can connect their credit or debit cards based on what they spend money on. We automatically give them a picture of their carbon footprint and what they can do about it. And that's really trying to make it possible for anyone to do this, make it as easy as tracking your footsteps or your finances.
So I can download the app on like Google Play or or the App Store?
Either one, yeah.
Perfect. And I put in my information, kind of like Mint. Doing a budget, you do a carbon budget or a carbon footprinting.
Exactly. Yeah, you answer a few questions. If you don't want to connect your card at first, you don't have to. But if you do, then you get an automated feed of your carbon footprint, just like you would get an automated feed of your financial data on mint.com.
And what did Joro app users do? Like, what is that it? Like, what do I do once I have my carbon footprinting?
Yeah, once you have your footprint, then you can start taking action. So once you know your metrics, like how many calories you eat a day or how much money you spend a day, you can start doing something about it. We feel the same way about climate. Once you know your metrics on your carbon footprint, you can start doing something about it. You can see your breakdown, where it comes from across the different categories of your footprint, like food or shopping. And you can take action on it through behavior change or buying offsets. So you can either join a challenge to change a specific behavior and reduce your footprint, or you can buy offsets like Nori's offsets.
Yeah. Cool. So what was so exciting to you about Nori, or like what appealed to you about Nori that you wanted to bring our projects or our carbon removals into your app?
Buying offsets is such a frustrating process. It's incredibly difficult to know that the emissions reduction that you are paying for has actually happened, and that you are the only one buying that emissions reduction. And so what I found is a lot of the different vendors we've tried to work with have struggled with different elements of what makes a carbon offset really trustworthy. And those are some of the areas that Nori is strongest. So especially on quantification and enforceability are areas that we were really impressed by Nori's approach. I'd love to ask also how you guys started Nori and what your mission was in creating this new approach to emissions reduction.
Sure. So we started Nori because we saw that 98-95% of offsets actually represent reductions or mitigations or avoidances. And so less than 5%, less than 2%, depending on the year, represented carbon removals or carbon sequestration, meaning CO2 was in the air and then removed and stored. And so a lot of people, buy offsets to offset their airplane travel. Well, you still flew a plane and the CO2 is still in the atmosphere unless you pay to remove it. Paying for solar or paying for some other type of reduction or avoidance as offset doesn't necessarily mean that CO2 comes out of the atmosphere. So that's the reason why we chose to build Nori the way that we did, which is completely focused on carbon removal. You can't negate your emissions, whether it's for your flights or your cars or whatever it is, unless you're cleaning up your mess, removing the CO2 from the atmosphere and storing it and putting somewhere else. Other offsets do useful things like paying for avoidances and reductions, but that's not necessarily the same thing, and it doesn't get us to net zero carbon. So we wanted to build a marketplace that was exclusively dedicated to carbon removal so that we could help businesses and individuals achieve net zero carbon and then go beyond that to do carbon negative footprints. So that maybe we could actually reverse climate change, which is our tagline.
Hopefully we'll do that. My goal is, you and us and the other climate tech people will work on this and fix it, and then we can all go do something else.
Yeah, people are like, oh, well, they ask all the time, oh, don't you think that your business model will slow down at some point because, we'll have cleaned up enough CO2 in the atmosphere? I was like, yeah, great, mission accomplished. Like, next thing. I have no problem with that. Like, life is to be lived, and you do project after project, and so I don't believe in the idea that you do one thing forever and shouldn't have to ever worry about work, which is fine for some people, but
I think coronavirus has definitely shown me that we can create real change in the span of weeks and months. When we're focused on it, people think climate change is going to be solved for centuries, but we can move faster than that.
Yes, we can. And that's such a great way of saying it and putting it, because imagine if we move this as quickly as we have on COVID-19, on climate change. Actually, COVID-19 is a quick way to act on climate change because we've just drastically cut our global emissions.
It's true. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, people think of staying home is really difficult and creating huge challenges for populations all over the world. But if we can do this for a few months and achieve a step change in how we treat pandemics in less than a year, that will prove to us that we can address the problem of climate change in the span of years.
Absolutely, totally. So for those of you watching the video, thanks for tuning in. Go to Joro, Joro.tech to download the app, estimate your carbon footprint, and then reverse your emissions with Nori carbon removals. Have a wonderful, beautiful, healthy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.